Hi everyone. Today we're going to go over the Reminders API. The Reminders API is a great way to enhance your skills functionality and engage more frequently with your users. We've seen that the community, the developer community, has a lot of interest around this topic, and also developers who integrate the Reminders API into their skill has a higher engagement rate with their users. So in this video, we're going to go through a live code walkthrough on how to integrate the Reminders API into your skill and schedule reminders on behalf of the user. My name is Pan Wang Wong, and I am an Alexa developer advocate. You can follow me on Twitter at itspanw for tips and tricks on programming and skill development. Okay, now, before we jump into actually implementing the skill, let's first start off high level about what is the actual user experience. I think that's a really great place to start. So for example, as a user, I would probably interact with a skill, and at a certain point, there's going to be an appropriate interaction where the skill is going to prompt me, would you like to schedule a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana from the stand, for example. And as a user, I say yes or no. And if I say yes, then it schedules it, and my Echo device at 1 p.m. will have a blue ring that kind of circulates or that rotates, and it's going to chime and then announce to me what the reminder was. In that case, get a banana from the stand. As a developer, you have two ways of interacting with the Reminders API. There's in session and out of session. For purposes of this video, we are going to focus only on in session. So in session allows you to create, read, update, and delete reminders through user interacting with the skill. And one important thing about in session also is it's the only way that you could create a reminder. So you can't do that without a session. And that makes a lot of sense, because if you're trying to schedule reminders that's going to alert the user, you want to be upfront about it, and also just make sure that the user is 100% cognizant and there won't be surprises in the future at all. So that just kind of goes back to best practices for designing this experience that has reminders in the skill as well. And the best practices, if we kind of go back to that dialogue I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is I said, would you like to schedule a daily, so that's the frequency, reminder at 1 p.m., so that's the time, to pick up a banana from the stand. So that's the purpose. So being very upfront and specific and also concise with what exactly that reminder is going to do is going to be very good. So definitely check out the link in the description to read more about the best practices for creating this type of experience. Let's now hop all over to the developer console. So in the developer console, I have a hosted skill. So we're going to be using JavaScript and Node.js, and the skill is called Banana Stand. Let's jump into actually starting to implement this, and the first thing that we will be doing is the configuration. Let's go ahead and scroll down, click on permissions right here, and then we're going to scroll down some more until we find reminders, which is right here, and then we're going to toggle on that switch, and that's going to give the skill permission to work with reminders. Now let's go back to custom, and we're still doing configuration right now. So let's go ahead and click on code, and I want to configure the package JSON because I want to update a package, and so I want to update the As SDK core to 2.6. That's the latest version as of this video. How do I know that? Check the NPM website, 2.6. Okay, and then I also want to do one more thing. I want to install this Moment time zone package. Moment.js is a popular JavaScript library for generating and manipulating timestamps. And that's going to be important when we start scheduling reminders. So Moment.js time zone is the specific package we'll need. I'll just copy this version that I want and hop on back over here. And then let's do, oops, sorry, wrong place. And then let's add that package. So the package is called Moment-timezone. And let's go ahead and do that, and let's click deploy. While that's deploying, I'm gonna click on the build tab to do some more things and not just wait around. So one thing I'll do is I'll just remove boilerplate stuff such as this hello world intent. And based on the dialogue example we did earlier, a very natural response to like, do you want a reminder to get a banana from Stan is yes. So let's just go ahead and take advantage of the Amazon yes intent that's built in. So I'll click add here, and instead of custom, I'll just like select use existing one, and then I'll filter for yes, and right there it is. So now I'm adding that. And then I'll just click here, and then let's give it like a sample utterance. So sounds good. Maybe it's not part of the sample utterances that's already built in, so I'm just going to do that. I would naturally respond that way, so make sure you do it based on that. And let's just build the model. And while that's building now, let's hop back up to the code. So let's go to index.js and start updating the boilerplate that we have as well. So welcome to the banana stand. That sounds much better. And then let's just go straight into prompting the user if they would like to schedule a reminder. Would you like a reminder, a daily reminder? Remember frequency at 1 p.m. to get a banana. So yeah, just reviewing best practices, frequency, time, and purpose. Great. Let's repurpose this hello world intent now to be create reminder intent handler. And let's wire that up to the Amazon yes intent. And now that we've done that, let's also scroll down to the bottom and make sure we update this. See, there's a little error here because hello world intent handler no longer exists. And I think this is a good time to deploy and just check that the code is working before proceeding. Alexa, open banana stand.
Welcome to the banana stand. Would you like a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana?
Sounds good.
Hello world.
Okay, so we forgot to modify some boilerplate. Let's scroll up. But that confirms that it's working, so that's awesome. So hello world is this. Let's change that to you successfully scheduled a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana. Great. And now let's actually start integrating parts of the reminders API so we could start integrating it. So let's go ahead, and what we need to do is we need to make the reminders API client available to us so then we could send it request. So in order to do that, we need to include this line of code on the bottom here. So with API client, and then we need to give it instance of Alexa default client, API client. And then let's scroll up. Yeah, sorry, let me stop there for a second. Just let you see that. I don't know that off the top of my head. I read documentation, and that's how I know that is the syntax. Now let's scroll up here to instantiate an instance of it as well. And I'm gonna name the instance of this reminders or reminder API client, and then it's going to be equal to handler input dot service client factory. So this is now available. Service client factory specifically is now available from that line that we added on the bottom. And now we want to create an instance of the reminder management service client. Let's deploy this and check that that all worked out properly. Although this seems like it'll take a lot more time, it will actually save a lot of time. Alexa, open banana stand.
Welcome to the banana stand. Would you like a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana?
Sounds good.
You successfully schedule a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana.
Great. So that means there's no problem with, I guess, like importing the API clients and then instantiating an instance of the reminders API client. So next stop is we need to check if the user has granted the skill permissions to schedule reminders on the user's behalf. So we need to do this, and if they haven't done it yet, what we need to do is send a card to their mobile app, to the Alexa mobile app, so then they could grant those permissions. So let's go ahead and first we want to check, we want to get the permissions object. And I'll be using the JavaScript ES6 destructor syntax to kind of pull out the object and also declare it in one step. And I get it from handler input dot requests envelope dot context dot system dot user. And I don't know these things off the top of my head. I'll keep mentioning that throughout this video. I read documentation, or for example, I inspect this object in CloudWatch. You could console log the JSONify version of this and just check it out in CloudWatch to see what the object looks like. Okay, now that I got out permissions, let's write that logic. So if there are no permissions, that means the user hasn't granted permissions. So we need to return a response at that point. And then we want to speak, please go to the Alexa mobile app to grant reminder permissions. Great. And now let's send that card. So with, is it with? Yeah, with ask for permissions consent card. And hopefully I spelled that all correctly. And now we need to give it an array of permissions we like to request. So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it in, and basically we want reminders rewrite permission. And then get response. Okay, this looks like a good place to also deploy and test. So what we should expect next is there won't be permissions granted to the skill yet. So it's gonna ask me to go to the mobile app, and then I'll see a card there where I could grant the permissions to for reminders. Alexa, open banana stand.
Welcome to the banana stand. Would you like a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana?
Sounds good.
Please go to the Alexa mobile app to grant reminders permissions.
Okay, great. So now let me scroll over here, and then I could pull down to reload, and then here it goes, the banana stand card. So let's click manage. And then here, I just need to check it here, right here. I'll check and uncheck it a few times so that's visible, and then finally save permissions. And after that is done, we can now check the skill that it won't go into this if statement and will just come here. So Alexa, open banana stand.
Welcome to the banana stand. Would you like a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana?
Sounds good.
You successfully schedule a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana.
Now let's actually add code to use the reminder API client to create a reminder. So the first thing we need to do is we need to declare a reminder request object, such as these, either scheduled, relative, or absolute. Let's start off with relative, and that just means it's like offset from the current time. Scheduled absolute means like you give it a specific day and time, and then you tell it frequency, and even by day if you like, to remind the user. Yeah, so we're gonna need that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paste in a request client, a reminder request object, sorry. And here, let's just inspect it a little bit. So relative, offset, 30 seconds pretty long. Let's make it like 15. And then we could give it some text for the specific language model. And then is push notification enabled or not? So let's enable that. Great. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and actually use that API client. So reminder API client dot create reminder, and we just simply pass in the request object, the reminder request object. Now let's deploy that and test it out. Great. Alexa, open banana stand.
Welcome to the banana stand. Would you like a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana?
Sounds good.
You successfully schedule a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana.
All right, so in 15 seconds, we should see this thing light up and the phone get a push notification sent as well. There we go.
Here's your reminder from Banana Stand. Time to get your banana.
I got my banana. Okay, great. Let's clean this up a little bit because right now we don't have any error handling, and we should have some error handling. So this reminders API client uses asynchronous HTTP requests or AJAX requests to the reminders API. So one thing we could use from also JavaScript ES6 is the async await pattern. So you simply do that by prepending async in front of that function, and then here we could just type await. So then now the code will not proceed until that asynchronous response returns. And to do the error handling, we could use the try catch. So error. And in the try catch, if there is an error caught from the response, we could do console.log. And we want to do console.log so things show up in CloudWatch if there's going to be an error. And this is using ES6 interpolated string to do the console logging. And then if there is a problem, we need to do something similar and return a response here. And let's modify the speech text to say there was an error scheduling your reminder. Please try again later. Let's update this reminder request object to be reminder absolute so we could do recurring reminders. So this was like kind of a one-off based on relative offset reminder, but like if we want to achieve what we set out to do, let's update that. So you can reference this right here. The object has a few extra keys in them which we'll have to add. So let's just go ahead and do that. Yeah, so sorry, if we go back here, the first thing you'll notice is there's this timestamp. So that timestamp is a specific format. It's the format is ISO 8601, without including the Z or Zulu at the end of it. So we need to create a timestamp in this specific format now. So luckily we installed Moment time zone to help us handle that. So let's bring that in, and we'll just declare it as moment. Great. And then we go back down here. And let's add those keys in. So one of the extra keys I saw was request time. So let's see, we could do moment. So that gets the relative time. And then like, let's change the time zone to Pacific, because that's my time zone. So America, Los Angeles. Great. Now the next part, oh, don't forget that comma. The next part is trigger should be absolute. And we no longer have this offset. We're gonna have to include scheduled time now. And we could copy and paste this, but that would be kind of like extra code. So let's actually abstract that out by declaring a variable ahead of time of reminder request called current date time. And let's just set that equal to this, because we'll just use that over and over again. And let's tab this over now. Great. So current date time, we could replace this with it. And oh yes, and I also forgot the format. So we need to format to ISO 8601. That's year based on 4 numbers, month, day, and then a T, and then hour, and then minutes, and then seconds. Great. Now for schedule time, we could reuse this variable that we declared current date time. And let's just do that, current date time. And then we want to set it to a specific time. And in our case, 1 p.m. So we have to use army time, and that would be 1300. So minute, 00, and then second, 00. And then let's copy formatting that we need to use afterwards. And yeah, this would get us 1 p.m. reminder. And now let's specify the time zone ID, which is America, Los Angeles. Great. And finally, the reoccurrence. And then the frequency, which is daily for us. Nice. Now that's everything we needed to add it to turn this into scheduled absolute, and everything else could stay the same. So one note I'll say here is that we can't wait till 1 p.m. to receive this reminder. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and just kind of speed things up. But if you did this, you would be able to also schedule a recurring reminder at 1 p.m. on a daily basis every day. So now, yeah, you could do that, but I'm just gonna speed things up. So I'm just gonna do add 15 seconds instead Great. Now let's deploy it and try it out. Alexa, open banana stand.
Welcome to the banana stand. Would you like a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana?
Sounds good.
You successfully schedule a daily reminder at 1 p.m. to get a banana.
Great. Now the suspense, and we'll see it both here and here in the 15 seconds. There we go.
Here's your reminder from Banana Stand. Time to get your banana.
So great, that all worked exactly like what we expected to do. That concludes the live code walkthrough on how to implement Reminders API in your skill, both covering one-time reminder and reoccurring reminder. So thank you for watching till the end of the video, and I hope that was informative, and I look forward to the awesome skills that y'all will be building. Once again, my name is Pan Wangper Wong, and you can follow me on Twitter at itspanw.